Welcome to Sales Team Rescue. We are episode number 81. I am your host, Jeremy DeMerchant. And today I want to talk about a little topic that seems to be coming up a lot. And that is it's systems over superstars. And so what do I mean by that? Well, I've had a lot of conversations recently with people that are looking to build their first sales team or expand their sales team. And they're always looking for the superstars, the rock stars, the ones that are going to knock it out of the park. And I get that. And right now, we're in a really interesting time where a lot more people are available for work. And remote sales is work that a lot of people want to get into. And now is the time because what may have been paying the bills up until a year ago or 9 months ago might not be what's paying the bills right now. And so there's a lot of people wanting to jump in. And the thing about salespeople, and I'm a salesperson, like, I'll be transparent here. Sometimes we get really excited about what we believe we can do. And sometimes we don't have the data to back it up, or we don't know enough about what we're stepping into to be able to back up what we hope the outcome will be. And so this is why I want to talk about systems over superstars, because if you come in and you bring a rock star, a superstar sales rep in, like, they might do well. But a lot of business owners are looking for not only just a rock star, not only just a superstar, but this unicorn. This person that will come in and have the ability to sit down and assess the current sales process and analyze the pipeline and go through all the scripts and then jump on the calls, and that person can do cold outreach, can book the calls themselves, can jump on those calls and close them within 2 conversations, and gonna make the business owner a multimillionaire. Okay, that's what people want. The reality is, most of the time, and there's some exceptions, but most of the time, people don't perform at the level that they hope to in a new system, at least for the first few months. And in most cases, to really get your feet planted and get yourself figured out in a new role when you're selling a new product or system, it can take up to 2 years. And ain't nobody got time for that. All right, we don't want to wait 2 years to have a sales rep come in, figure our stuff out, and get it right. And this is why systems are super important. And I hate to make the analogy that I'm about to make, but we could take a lesson from McDonald's. Okay, McDonald's, you go in, and of course you're only going in for the salads, right? Right. Anyway, you go in and the fries are always on the left, and everything is systemized. It's designed so that 16-year-olds can jump in and fill the gaps. Okay, this is what we want to be able to do. Not necessarily 16-year-olds, but we want to make sure that somebody at different levels of skill sets can jump in and do the job. Because the goal isn't to find a superstar. The goal is to create killer sales results and create killer experience for your clients. And one challenge we get is that if you get somebody that comes in and can knock it out of the park on the sales side, if you don't have proper training and proper systems in place, there's a chance they may come in and put you in a place where they've offered things that aren't part of the delivery. Maybe not on purpose, but they think it makes sense, and on the fly they don't want to ask that question, oh, I don't know, let me check, because they just want to go in and get those sales. And then you end up with the improper expectation set and potentially can lose sales. So I want you to think about how you can systemize your sales. And I want to give a real good example. If we look at the 90s Chicago Bulls. Now, yes, they are most famous for all the championships and, of course, Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan absolutely is a superstar. But Michael Jordan could not have done it by himself. Okay, I am a huge MJ fan, but he could not have done it by himself. Because for one, you need a full team to play basketball. Okay, just by the rules of the game, he couldn't be solo. And we should look at the same thing from a business owner perspective. You should not have a solo sales rep being the person running all of your business, or at least all of your revenue generation, right? Your sales is where your money comes from. Don't leave it to one person. And 2, if you do happen to find someone that can step in with no other person around them and can rock it, you are then dependent on them. You are handcuffed to a killer sales rep, because whatever they want, you got to give to them, because you can't function without them. And sales is one of the highest turnover industries. So don't put yourself in that spot. But if you think back to the system, what did the 90s Chicago Bulls have? And if you were not even born before the 90s, just look it up. I'm sure you know who Michael Jordan is, but if you don't, trust me, it'll change your life if you take the time to do a little research. Okay. Um, so Jordan wasn't alone on the court. He had an entire team who included Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, who were phenomenal players as well. They just weren't the superstar Michael Jordan. But Jordan could not have done what he did without the other people, without the other teammates. The other piece is Jordan could not have done what he did without his coach, Phil Jackson, without somebody outside looking in giving feedback. And if you're bringing in a single sales rep that's going to be the superstar and knock it out of the park, you as the business owner are going to be stuck in a spot where you're trying to manage, you're trying to play coach, which is going to take up just as much time as when you were doing the sales yourself. You need to build a system. It doesn't all have to be manual. You can have some automated training modules. You can build in checks and balances as you're going, and make sure that the progress is set up. And anybody that is really good at building sales systems can help you with that. Shamelessly, I'll put my hand up. Call me, message me, reach out to me. Go to salesteamrescue.com and schedule your sales team opportunity assessment call with me. No cost, and we'll have a conversation. But I want you to think about the systems. Without systems, you don't have a sales team. You have a sales rep. You've got a maverick. And sure, Top Gun was a great movie, but you can't have a maverick flying solo as your entire revenue generation source. It's not sustainable. You don't want it, because then you're handcuffed. And if something happens and they leave, you got to start from scratch. So systems over superstars is what's going to be the key to long-term growth, to long-term scaling. I want to tell you how great it is to scale with a sales team, and it is, but it's not easy. Okay, it can be simple. The concepts can be simple, but it's not easy. And the first rule I want you to just take to heart is I don't want you to try to bring in one rep and hope that it's magically going to be solved, because it's not. And you want to think about who needs to be in place, what T's need to be crossed and I's need to be dotted to create this entire sales system. You see those amazing rock star salespeople, the ones that close and make 10K, 20K a month. And for the record, most sales reps just want to get to 10K a month. If you can show them a comp plan that I get them to 10K a month, they'll work for that. Okay, side note. But that's also a system. Now, in order to do that, though, they need to have a process. They can't just look at a list, start dialing through, and close a bunch of sales. Okay, they need to have really clear information about the product or service. They need to have some way to educate the person, and they need to be able to create familiarity. Okay, one of the best trainings that Jordan Belfort gives talks about the three levels of certainty. One is certainty in the company. One is certainty in the product, and one is certainty in you, the salesperson. And if they don't have that certainty, all three levels of certainty, it's a hard sale to close. So we got to think about, how do we create those three levels of certainty? How do we, one, make them know you, like you, and trust you as a salesperson or this rep that you're going to hire? What can we do to make that happen? How can you build up the authority? How can you make sure that they look good on camera if they're jumping on Zoom? Like, invest in a setup, invest in a proper camera, proper lighting. How do you show them confidence or certainty in the company? Well, they need to know something about it. They need to have something to hang their hat on, or the company has something to hang its hat on, that can build credibility to the audience. It doesn't have to be anything magic. It doesn't have to be that they were featured in Forbes or anything crazy like that. But there has to be something that lands with the client. And you need to do a little bit of research and create the educational material to be able to put that in place. And finally, the product. The product itself, whether it's a product or service, let's call it a product, they need to be certain that the product will indeed solve their problems. You can't just train all this into one person and hope that in a couple of conversations they're going to get it done, because that's not realistic. And I generally hate the word realistic, but especially when it comes to goal setting. But I do need you to be realistic when it comes to what a single human being is able to do. Okay, so I want you to think about that, and let me know. Like, if you like it, thank you. I just saw some likes on the video. So give me some love. Put some comments in the comments space down below. Give me a thumbs up. Guys, make sure you are subscribed if you're watching live. Make sure you like Headspace TV. And what questions do you have? Put them in the comments. I'll get back to you. I want to know exactly what I can do to help you build your sales team faster. But today, the point that I want to make, and I'm not going to beat the dead horse here, but we just want to lean into systems over superstars. And we can obviously keep improving both, right? You want to always keep improving your systems and always keep helping your superstars grow. But you also want to be able to have somebody who's new to sales come in and you have the training in place that you can help them get up to speed so that they're selling the way that your company wants them to sell. And not necessarily having to invest in the person that's been in sales for 30 plus years, has seen it all, done it all, knows all the best ways, and sometimes can be a little bit tougher to train or coach on ways that are more aligned with the messaging of the company. But if you don't have your system in place, you don't have this mapped out, you don't know what the messaging of the company is. You don't know what the answers to the most common questions are because you don't know what the most common questions are. So you want to be able to build all these things out, all these resources for your sales reps, and work with them to figure out what are the most common objections and how can we create a system to overcome most of them before it even gets to the call. You hear about people talking about closing 70, 80, 90% of their calls. That's great. But that's not a cold call, I guarantee you. Create a system that can allow you and your brand and your company and product to educate the person, the prospect, the lead. And as you continue to do that through the process, you insert the salesperson to be able to build a relationship, ask those tough questions, get down to the true pain, and find out how bad they want to change it. Build that relationship and help them move forward to get the results that they want. That's what a closer does. So think about this. If you take the buying experience for your prospects from end to end, how many pieces do you need to have? The average sale takes somewhere between 7 and 12 touches. Now, it doesn't have to be 7 and 12 calls, but 7 to 12 touches are exposures to your brand or the product or the sales rep. So make sure you build it in and set yourself up for success, because if you're going out there and you want your sales rep to just be a maverick and go nuts, you may get some quick wins. But the second that you try to scale, you're going to struggle, because that one rep, especially if he gets great results or she gets great results, they're not going to want to go train the next person because they're busy closing sales. And you probably don't want them to train the next person because they're busy closing sales. So then what? Then you've got to create a process anyway. Or if they do get trained by that superstar rep, they're learning their way to sell, not necessarily your company's way to sell. And, because there clearly wasn't enough points in this video, the other part is this, and nobody talks about this. The problem is, if you don't have a sales system design that aligns with your company, and your reps are buying in to the system of the best sales rep, if that best sales rep leaves, you're going to have the rest of your team feeling lost. You might actually have the rest of the team follow that sales rep to wherever they go if that's an opportunity. Okay, there's a loyalty piece here, and you want it to be loyalty to the company, not to the best sales rep. Okay, so you need to, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your team to invest the time and other resources to be able to create a sales system that works. Okay, so that's what I wanted to highlight today. If you were interested in learning more, you want to hear about how we do this at Permission to Sell, you can go to salesteamrescue.com, scroll to the bottom, and book a time with me. No cost appointment. Let's have a conversation about where you're at, where you want to go, and what we need to do to help you get there. One piece I will mention, though, is that as I'm reconfiguring my offerings, and my goal is to be able to help 200 businesses at a time. Okay, so that's where I'm going. That's where we're going as a team. And part of this is this foundational component that, do I want to tell you the name? Not yet. I don't want to tell you the name yet because I haven't finalized it yet. So you'll have to wait and see exactly what the name's going to be, but there's a foundational component that's going to be all about sales systems. And if that's something that's going to interest you, make sure you message me, email me, go to salesteamrescue.com and book a call. All that stuff will work. And that's it for today. Just remember, Systems over superstars when it comes to building your sales team. Okay, guys? So I'm Jeremy DeMerchant, your host. This was episode number 81 of Sales Team Rescue. Remember, join me right here next week on Headspace TV, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And catch the replay of this episode, previous episodes, and link directly to the podcast at salesteamrescue.com. And again, if you're ready for that sales team assessment call, that sales team opportunity call, jump on a call with me to see where you're at and what's next for you. See if we can bridge that gap for you so that you can actually get to that point where you're building a 7-figure, 8-figure sales team. Go to salesteamrescue.com, scroll to the bottom, book that session with me, no cost to you. I just want to make sure that I'm helping as many people as possible grow their businesses through having a killer sales team. Okay, guys, that's it for now. Remember, get uncomfortable, get results, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.